Hello students, this is the second part in series of Telangana budget videos. In this video, let's discuss some more issues in detail. Now, what is public debt? Public debt is the total amount including total liabilities borrowed by the government to meet its development budget. Let's say, for example, a state government needs 100 rupees in order to meet all its developmental expenditure or budget, but it earns only 60 rupees. The rest 40 rupees it will borrow from some other sources. So this 40 rupees will be public debt of that state. Now the state's public debt for the first time is set to cross 3 lakh crore mark for the next financial year for the state of Telangana. This is much higher than the 2.8 lakh crores during the last fiscal year, that is 2021 to 2022. So the point here to be noted is that there is an increase in state's public debt, and for the first time public debt is set to cross 3 lakh crore mark. Now, what are the categories in which or how this public debt is amounted? There are 4 different ways in which this public debt is amounted for the state of Telangana. State's open market loans contributed major chunk of up to 2.89 lakh crore. So of the 3 lakh crore public debt, 2.89 lakh crore comes from this open market loans, followed by special securities and provident fund, which amounts to 19,336 crores, followed by loans from autonomous bodies, which amounted to 14,000 crores. This is followed by loans from central government, which estimated to come down to 7,000 crores. So you need not remember the values or facts and figures from group 1 and group 2 point of view, but you need to remember the order. So the major chunk from of this public debt comes from open market loans. Now the second point I want to stress here is, when compared to previous financial year, the share of open market loans has increased this year, and the share of special securities and provident fund also increased, whereas the share from loans from central government and loans from autonomous bodies have decreased when compared to previous year. So these are the points that you need to remember in this area. Now the borrowings and other liabilities during the current fiscal are projected at around 49,000 crores, and the state's borrowings continue to sustain at 25% of GSDP, which is otherwise called debt to GDP ratio. Now what is debt to GDP ratio? It is the metric comparing a country's public debt, countries or states public debt, to its gross domestic product. For example, a state's GDP is 100 rupees and its debt, public debt, is 25 rupees. Then the 25% is what we call debt to GDP ratio. In 2017, the FRBM panel, that is Fiscal Responsibility and Budget Management panel, had suggested a ceiling for general government debt for both center and states at 60% of GDP, with the center ceiling at 40% and states ceiling at 20%, with 5% on either side. So most of the states, whereas most of the states failed to adhere to these norms, Telangana could sustain its state's debt to GDP ratio at 25%. So this point is important. Now coming to budget revenues and expenditure. This is a brief classification of budget receipts. Budget receipts come from 2 sources: revenue receipts and capital receipts. Revenue receipts is further divided or classified into tax revenue, non-tax revenue, and tax revenue is further divided into direct tax and indirect tax. Now these are all the subcomponents in these revenue receipts. Under capital receipts, we get recovery of loans, disinvestment, borrowings and provident funds. Same way, This is the classification for budget or government expenditure. It follows revenue expenditure and capital expenditure, and these are the components under respective categories. Now if you look at the subdivisions of Telangana's revenue receipts and revenue expenditure, you can see that revenue receipt of Telangana is 1.9 lakh crores and public debt 59,000 crores, loan recoveries and public account net. So the total receipts for the Telangana state government is 2,56,961 crores. The same way, revenue expenditure is 1.89 lakh crores, capital expenditure is 29,000 crores, public debt repayment is 11,000 crores, loans and advances 26,000 crores, summing to 2,56,958 crores. This is total expenditure. So you need to remember the 2 points you need to remember here is the first one is the total receipt and total expenditure. The second thing is the total expenditure for the state government of Telangana is more than the total receipts by 3.26 crores. Now, this is the sub-classification in receipts and expenditure received by the Telangana state government. So, you don't have to remember or by heart these figures, but you need to remember the order in which they contributed to the state government. Let's see here in receipts, in revenue receipts, state taxes and duties amounted highest, which is nearly 1 lakh crore, followed by state share in central taxes. Sorry, not after the state taxes and duties, it is followed by other non-tax revenue, including grant in aid from central, followed by state share in central taxes, followed by interest receipts. Same way in expenditure, there is development expenditure, debt services, administrative charges, other expenditure, and tax collection charges in decreasing order. So you need to remember the order in which these receipts are received by the government or the expenditure is spent by the government. Now, what is a fiscal deficit? A fiscal deficit is a shortfall in a government's income compared with its spending. So the government that has a fiscal deficit is spending beyond its means. Let's say, for example, I have an income of 100 rupees, but I am spending 120 rupees. That gap of 20 rupees is my fiscal deficit. Now, according to the Telangana's budget that is released, the fiscal deficit is increased. The estimated amount of fiscal deficit is increased from 44,000 to 52,000. So this point is important here from group 1 and group 2 perspective, because the fiscal deficit according to revised estimates has been increased from 44,000 crores to 52,000 crores. Now coming to primary sector. Agriculture sector previous year has contributed over 20% to GSDP. Even in the previous fiscal year, agriculture sector has contributed to over 20% of Telangana's gross state domestic product. And this year's outlay for agriculture is 24,254 crores. So the total area cultivated in Telangana has increased from 1.31 crore acres to 2.09 crore acres. This is from 2014-15 to 2020-21. So this amount of cultivated land has been increased in Telangana with the help of Mission Kakatiya, irrigation projects and Rythu Bandhu scheme. Now coming to irrigation. Now the amount allocated for irrigation sector is around 22,000 crores. Now this irrigation facility increased from 20 lakh acres to 85 lakh acres from 2014 to 2021. Now the allocation to irrigation sector for the next fiscal is higher. See, initially it was estimated that 16,000 crore will be allocated to irrigation sector, but it was increased by almost 34% to 22,000 crores. The points you need to remember here is the amount of land under irrigation which is increased from 2014 to 2021, and around 34% of budget allotment was increased from revised estimates to current estimates, from 16,000 crores to 22,000 crores. Now, the government is also in the process of improving works at these projects, which is Vardha Barrage, Kupti, Chennuru, Nalgonda, Gattu, and Vikarabad Rangareddy lift irrigation schemes. In particular, you need to memorize these two projects, that is Vardha Barrage and Vikarabad Rangareddy lift irrigation scheme. Now, this Vardha barrage is being proposed in place of a barrage at Tummidihetti. So, initially, when the Pranahita Chevalla project was supposed to take off at Tummidihetti, but because of problems in getting clearances, as Tummidihetti is a wildlife sanctuary, the project has been moved to Vardha barrage. So this is an important point. So the other important point is Vikarabad Rangareddy lift irrigation scheme is being proposed to cover the areas intended to be irrigated under the original Pranahita Chevalla project and left uncovered in the Palamuru Rangareddy lift irrigation scheme. So whatever the areas that are left out from the original Pranahita Chevalla and the areas left out in Palamuru Rangareddy lift irrigation schemes is being covered under this Vikarabad Rangareddy lift irrigation scheme. Now, the increase in budgetary support also encompasses needs of Sangameshwara and Basaveshwara lift irrigation projects, which help irrigate around 3.9 lakh acres in erstwhile Medak district. So, the points you need to remember here is Sangameshwara and Basaveshwara lift irrigation schemes, which helps irrigate 3.9 lakh acres of erstwhile Medak district. Now, there are these few projects which helped increase the area under irrigation. They are Kalvakurti, Nettempadu, Bhima, Koil Sagar, Yellampalli, Mid Manayar, and Devadula. Now, these are the districts in which these projects are started. Vardha Barrage in Asifabad district, Kupti in Adilabad district, Chennuru project is in Mancheriyal district, Gattu project is in Joglamba Gadwal district, Tummidihetti is in Adilabad district, Kalvakurti is in Mehboob Nagar, Nettempadu is in Joglamba Gadwal district, Bhima is in Narayanpet district, Koil Sagar is in Mehboob Nagar, Yellampalli project is in Ramagundam, Midmanair is in Rajanna Sirsilla, and Devadula project is in Mulugu district. So these districts are very important from prelims point of view. Now coming to Rythu Bandhu scheme. Now this Rythu Bandhu scheme is an agriculture investment support scheme. So this scheme under Telangana government this year has allocated around 14,800 crores to Rythu Bandhu scheme and 1,460 crores under Rythu Bima scheme. This Rythu Bima scheme is a subset of Rythu Bandhu scheme, which is an insurance scheme. Now what is this Rythu Bandhu scheme? Its main objective is relieving the farmers from debt burden and not allowing them to fall in the debt trap again. Under this scheme, 5,000 per acre per farmer each season for purchase of inputs like seeds, fertilizers, pesticides, labor, and other investments is given. So when I say 5,000 per season, we already know that there are two seasons, that is Kharif and Rabi. So per acre, per farmer, 10,000 rupees will be given as a compensation to each farmer. Now the government has spent around 50,000 crore on Rythu Bandhu investment support to farmers, given at 10,000 per acre per year to about 63 lakh farmers. So far, 63 lakh farmers have been benefited under this Rythu Bandhu scheme, receiving 10,000 rupees per acre per year. Now, coming to Rythu Bima, the main objective of the Farmers Group Life Insurance Scheme is to provide financial relief and social security to the family members or dependents in case of loss of farmer's life due to any reason, even natural death. So farmers in the age of 18 to 59 years are eligible to enroll under this scheme. So in case of any event of death, 5 lakh rupees will be given to the nominee of that farmer. And the unique point under the scheme is that nominee need not require to approach any office for the settlement of claim amount. The claimed amount, which is 5 lakhs, would be transferred through RTGS into nominee's account. Under Rythu Bima, around 75,000 families are given insurance benefit of 3,775 crores so far. Coming to oil palm cultivation, the government has allocated around 1,000 crore for the promotion of oil palm during 2022-23. So the budget allocation for oil palm cultivation is 1,000 crores. Now let us look at some statistics. Telangana stands 6th in terms of oil palm area in the country, with plantation crop covered in 53,000 acres. So you need to remember this. Telangana stands 6th in terms of oil palm area. However, it stands first in terms of productivity at 8 tons of fresh fruit bunches of oil palm per acre, and also highest oil extraction rate of 19.22% in 2020-21. So Telangana stands 6th in area and first in terms of productivity and first in terms of oil extraction rate for the year of 2020-2021. However, the production of crude palm oil in the state is about 0.5 lakh tons against the requirement of 3.66 lakh tons. Even though Telangana stands first in the terms of productivity, the requirement of palm oil is much higher, and hence government has given or allocated 10,000 crores in order to improve oil palm cultivation. Now, let us wind up this video with some sample question. Which of the following sectors has contributed to over 20% in gross state domestic product of Telangana? Real estate, telecommunications, agriculture, mining. The answer is agriculture. Agriculture, not only in this fiscal year, even in the previous fiscal year, has contributed more than 20% towards gross state domestic product. Now, this is another question. Choose the correct increasing order of Telangana's state revenue. So you need to be cautious what you read, whether they gave increasing order or decreasing order. So the correct increasing order of Telangana state revenue is interest receipts, state share in central taxes, other non-revenue taxes, state taxes and duties. So as I told you earlier, you don't have to remember the exact figure or amount in which they contributed to the state revenue, but you need to remember the order in which they contributed. Now, this is the end of this video. Let's meet again for the further video. Thank you. Happy studying.